And we're dancing. What's up, son? You look like you just woke up.
I did not just wake up. At least the people that are listening don't need to know that. How was your weekend?
Great weekend of college football. Lots of interesting happenings. I was caught by surprise on some things, AKA with the Brian Kelly deal. But it seems like this is one of those years where schools are just not waiting. The amount of coaches that have been fired in season this year, I don't know if it's the highest number, but it feels like it's the highest number at big schools, at major Power 5 schools that I've seen in a long time. So you may
As
not
of
want to
right
start there,
now,
but that's the thing that have found really interesting coming out of the weekend.
yeah, we won't start there. But as of right now, the amount of coaches that have been fired mid-season, at least in the FBS, it's 10.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, and big time programs. Penn State, LSU, Florida. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later because I think there's some interesting takes on not just why things have happened, but also what potentially might happen afterwards with some of these teams. So,
Well, without further ado, welcome to the Savage College Football Podcast. I am your host, Kale Wilson, along with.
hey, this is Eric Wilson for the College Football Show. As always, we are here dancing on a Monday, talking about a good weekend of college football. What's up, Jack?
Not too much, man. It was we were talking last week and we
Interesting
kind of said
games.
that there weren't many games that looked interesting on paper, but that's the times where you get some crazy chaotic events. And I
Yeah,
think that's
the
what
SEC
happened.
in particular was a crazy. Like we had 4 one-touchdown games in the SEC. Some of them that we didn't really. Some of them we expected to be really good. A couple of them that were really close that we didn't really expect to be close. So ended up being a really interesting weekend of football. So where do you want to start?
Let me run through the weekday games of last week, and then we can start about talking about we'll figure that out about Saturday. So since the weeks start on Tuesday now that we're in full swing of college football, last Tuesday, Kennesaw State gets another win on the road at FIU. Kennesaw State improves to 5-2. They are 1 win away from becoming a bowl eligible team. Delaware wins at home against Middle Tennessee State 31-28. Louisiana Tech falls to Western Kentucky in overtime after Western Kentucky goes for 2 to try to walk off the Hilltoppers, and that works out. Missouri State gets a win over New Mexico State. Thursday, South Alabama wins against Georgia State 38-31. Cal wins at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech beats Cal in 2 overtimes, 42-34. Boise State wins at Nevada 24-3. North Texas wins at Charlotte 54-20. Now, Mr. Wilson, this deserved to be mentioned because North Texas quarterback Drew Mestamaker, can you even guess how many yards this man threw for?
No, I cannot. I watched a little bit of that game. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did not look up the stats. I did know he was slinging it though.
Completed 37 passes, 4 touchdowns.
Out of how many attempts? How many times did he throw?
49.
49 attempts.
He threw 1 interception, 4 touchdowns, 608 passing yards.
That's a lot of passing yards. 608.
That's
49
that's
attempts.
pretty good. That's
I guess
pretty
they're
freaking good.
not going to throw. They're not going to run the football a whole lot. So
well, and keep in mind, it's really cool because this kid, if you really go back and look at this kid had no offers coming out of high school. He was a 0-star recruit. He walked on at North Texas and then won the starting job, and now he's doing this.
So
and North Texas is 7-1.
A little like Chad Powers type of vibes.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
It's kind of a real feel-good story, and this kid's a true freshman.
Dang. So he's got a lot of time left. Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does. He probably won't stay at North Texas very long if he has another. If
you're throwing for 608 yards, someone's going to be calling your name.
That's
All
right.
right.
He'll be Diego Pavia-esque. He'll go somewhere else and put his name up in lights.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that's all the weekday matchups of the week. So who do we want to start with first? There's a multiple ways we can go.
I mean, so just my interest level, I'd love to start with Alabama barely getting out of Williams-Brice Stadium alive on Saturday. Like that game,
dude,
I thought Alabama was just going to spank South Carolina.
We came in. What is it? I think we talked that morning or like right past noon. And we talked about that game.
Yeah.
And we both agreed that, that game was going to be a smoke show. Alabama was going to come in and dominate South Carolina. That's what we thought.
Yep.
And then
that's what I thought was going to happen.
Of course, South Carolina always has a game, whether they're good or they're bad, when they play a really good team and they just play them to their limit.
Yeah. Well,
and we always forget that.
That happens once every year, right? Like they do it with somebody, even when they're not a very good football team. And, there's a lot we can go into here, but the turnovers were really a huge part in the game. First of all, Alabama's 2 turnovers put South Carolina in position to score a couple touchdowns when they're not very good on offense, but gave them some short fields. And South Carolina protected the football literally all the way up until the very end of the game. Lenore Sellers had thrown 1 interception during the game, but that fumble right at the end of the game is what put Alabama in position to, score to go ahead and win, like right at the end. But
by the way,
until that point, yeah.
I would like to put it out for the record for those that haven't watched the game. The interception that Lenore Sellers threw was not his fault at all. That ball should have been caught.
Yeah, I mean, it was a catchable ball for sure, And Alabama did a great job on that strip right at the end. Sellers was trying to get extra yards. I mean, he was South Carolina's offense. He rushed for 67 yards himself. He threw for 222 yards. So South Carolina still wasn't great on offense. I mean, they only had about 330 yards of total offense, but it was all Lenora Sellers, like literally.
Yeah.
Running backs together had about 40 yards rushing between them. It was another pitiful, opportunity from a running standpoint for South Carolina's offense. They just played so well on defense, dude.
Oh my gosh, yeah. If Lenora Sellers doesn't play in that game and it's like Luke Doty or something like that, they lose by like 17 points at least.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, Jalen Kilgore and Vakari Swain, bro,
played their butts
off. Those guys, I mean, the pass breakups, like if you go, like just watching that game, like that was a clinic on corner play. It was so good. And there were so many like huge plays. That one play that Swain made in the 4th quarter where he literally looked like he hung in the air for about 3 seconds and deflected that ball that would have ended up, being a touchdown if he would have caught it because he had another 20, 30 yards he could have run afterwards. I mean, I felt terrible for South Carolina's defense and how well they played that they didn't come out of that game with a win. But
they did a really good job shutting down Alabama's running game.
Yeah, they really did. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Defensively, they played really, really good. Alabama did rush for, 253 yards, or excuse me, only rushed for 72 yards, right? So Simpson had 253 yards passing. But this was at the very beginning of the season, right? When we saw Alabama play really poorly against Florida State, they couldn't run the football. And we were like, hey, if Alabama can't run the football, they're not going to be a very good football team. Well, they've run the football well ever since then. This was the first game, I think, that they got held underneath 100 yards rushing since their opener.
So, their leading rusher was Jam Miller with 26.
Yeah. I mean, South Carolina played really well up front. They played great in the back end. Defensively, they just played really, really well. And, the South Carolina's offense is abysmal. It's a shame that Lenore Sellers has to play in an offense that's that bad, but it is what it is. And Alabama did what good football teams do. They figured out a way to get out of there with a win. In what, honestly, I heard this mentioned on, I think, was the game on ESPN? Where was the game on?
It was on ABC.
Okay. So somebody said this. One of the commentators said it, and I completely agree because I've played at almost every stadium in the SEC. South Carolina's stadium is probably the most underrated place to play that's really hard to play in the entire conference. Everybody knows LSU is hard to play in, right? Everybody knows that if you go to Neyland Stadium at night, it's crazy. But people don't talk about how hard it is to play at Williams-Brice, especially at night. That's a freaking hard stadium to get a win out of. So Alabama figured out how to do it right at the end, but South Carolina took them to the wire, and it was an interesting football game.
I want to let it be apparent as well and known that because this wasn't much of a talking point, and that's a good thing. The South Carolina offensive line improved tremendously this week.
Yeah, they played better. Well, I think you saw this is the second week under Sean Elliott as the offensive line coach since the change was made. And again, they're playing with, a lot of guys that weren't even in there at the beginning of the season because they've been doing injuries and they're trying to rotate guys, try to figure out what their best combination of players is. But definitely saw a big improvement from last week to this week. And I think you're probably going to continue to see that throughout the course of the year because Sean Elliott's a heck of a line coach.
Yeah, I always loved seeing him as the O-line coach. Growing up, when he was the O-line coach before he left to go to Georgia State, I remember because that he's that coach that's got like a raspy voice and he's always
he sounds like this.
Yeah.
And whenever he's a line coach, dude.
Whenever they would be in warmups, like before they would like start doing drills and stuff, he would go to the corner of the end zone with the line, and he'd like get them all crazy, and they'd all start pushing each other around. He'd be in there, and he'd be like pushing them around, headbutting them, and like they all got pads and helmets on. He doesn't have anything on, but he's still doing it because he's just fired up.
Yeah. No, I know. That kind of reminds me of like when I was a line coach before I became a coordinator or anything like that. All I had to do was worry about the O-line. I loved pregame warm-ups. You just like get them like slobbering and ready to just go, get after somebody. And we always had the corner, like the linemen always get the corner, so you go down there and you just get after it. So yeah, he's done a great job with that line. My guess is you're probably going to see South Carolina gradually get a little bit better over the course of the season. But they've got a tough road to hoe. So Alabama comes out with a win. It's going to keep their ranking, going to stay alive in the playoff hopes. After that game, which one did you find, compelling? Like what other games on Saturday did you really like, hey, that, you watched it and it was really interesting to watch? Obviously there's a bunch of them, but where do you want to go from there? Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Vandy, Missouri.
The final thing, just the quick note that I wanted to make was it was really nice to be able to meet Alabama wide receiver Jeremy Bernard before the game, who's a
player
member, and he had the 2 touchdowns for Bama to win the game.
That's right. He made a huge play there sick. At the end. I was sitting there thinking, okay, they're going to get in field goal range, and he just made a bunch of dudes miss and took it to the house.
Yeah, and I'm over here like, okay, like obviously South Carolina's my alma mater, so obviously like I'm a little bit of a homer for them, like in this game. But if Bama were to win,
some of your boys too,
if Bama were to win, which they did, at least one of my, I guess, friends and followers of my page was the one responsible for it. So I was like, okay, at least that happened.
Let's go 5. Let's go 5.
Yeah. All right. So next up, I think we should go ahead. We could talk about
dealer's choice.
I know this is a tough one, man. All right. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the game that everyone was waiting on. Your boy, Brian Kelly, gets embarrassed.
Oh, geez.
In Death Valley at night. Number 20, LSU gets curb stomped by number 3, Texas A&M, 49-25. Marcel Reed led the Aggies in both passing and rushing, 202 passing yards, 108 rushing yards. And for those, and the interesting thing is, this was a score. LSU was leading 18-12 at one point.
Yeah, I think that's pretty tight going into halftime. I can't remember exactly what the halftime score was, but it was a ball game still at halftime. A&M blew it out the second half. It
was 18-14. It was 18-14. and A&M scored 35 unanswered points
Mm-hmm.
to go up 49-18.
And also, and Brian Kelly's career at LSU. I mean, it was, like you said, it was a curb stomp. What was the line going into this game? Do you remember?
The line was Texas A&M was favored by 1.5.
1.5. Wow.
According to ESPN Bet, and then the other spread was 2.5.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at it right now. That's crazy. And they beat them by literally 24 points. Yeah, I mean, A&M is like
to get to
Marcel Reed
25
is a
from
stud.
18. LSU scored that touchdown with like maybe a minute left, so that was garbage points.
Yeah, I mean, LSU did not listen, they're the same LSU team we've seen the whole year. They're not very good on offense. Like, they've literally just been living on their defense the entire year. And anytime they play somebody who can score points, they're done because their defense you can't ask a defense to keep up with that forever.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time you saw an LSU team that couldn't run the football? Like, LSU ran for 60 yards. 60. And Nussmeier threw for 218. Like, they're just impotent on offense. Now, I don't want to take everything away from, Texas A&M's defense. They played pretty well on defense, but A&M's a team, if you think about it, that's been given up like literally 35, 40 points a game. They've been winning in shootouts all year long. And so coming into a game like this, you'd be thinking, okay, we're playing against a defense that's not great. This is a chance to get healthy on offense. And if we can play well enough on defense, we've got a chance to win it if you're LSU. And you come in and you play just as bad on offense as you always have. But you can't really slow down Texas A&M on offense. I mean, this is the first game, and I know I've said this prior to this game. I was kind of like, I don't know if A&M, is built to go all the way. And I still don't know if they're good enough on defense to go the distance. But they're better than I gave them credit for. And it's not like I wasn't giving them credit. They're a really good football team. But this is the first game where I saw them take a team that's pretty good. And like you said, they just freaking stomped them in the dirt. So, an outcome I didn't expect. And it was at LSU, dude, right? At night.
Yeah. Brian Kelly's record coming into this game and games at home at night was 20-1.
Yeah. Well, what was his record against top 10 teams or against ranked teams? It wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't. And that probably had a big part to do with the fact that, well, for those that have been living under a rock for the last 12 hours, and because, this happened at this point, the time is being recorded, happened about 13 or 15 hours ago.
He was
Brian
5-11 against ranked opponents at LSU.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Brian Kelly has been fired from his position as the head coach at LSU. He didn't even last 4 seasons.
Yeah. I was talking about this last night with, I think I was talking just about this with somebody at the house. I don't think I was talking to you on the phone about this, but so, I coached with Brian. He gave me my first coaching job when I was at Grand Valley State. He got me into college coaching. He's a Catholic from Boston. Like, his dream job was Notre Dame. That is the job he wanted forever, right? And he got that job, and he was at Notre Dame for over 10 years. Played in a national championship, was getting into the college football playoffs. Ultimately, I think, I don't know whether he left because of the massive contract that LSU gave him. It was a 10-year, like $96 million deal. Or, which I think this is just as big of it, because the guy's got so much money, he doesn't know what to do with it from Notre Dame anyway. He wanted to win a national championship, and I don't think he could do it at Notre Dame because of the academic requirements. And I think he thought going to LSU was going to be his move. But what people don't anticipate when they make a decision like that is how freaking hard the SEC is. Yes, you can recruit anybody you want at LSU, but you also have to run a gauntlet every week. And when you're at Notre Dame, how many hard games a year do you have to win?
You've got an independent schedule, so you don't have a conference championship. So you basically got to win 11.
Right, 11 games. But how many hard ones do you have to win? 3
Not
to 4,
many.
maybe. Right? I mean,
Maybe.
you beat 3 to 4 good football teams, and the rest of the time, like you said, you can beat average teams. You don't have to play the schedule at Notre Dame to get in that you have to play at LSU.
At LSU.
The SEC. So it definitely didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. And the irony of the whole thing is that Marcus Freeman, the now head coach at Notre Dame, is probably making a run at a playoff spot because of the expanded playoffs. So, BK left Notre Dame to go to LSU to try to win a national championship. Notre Dame's in a much better position to try to win a national championship this year. LSU's out.
The grass isn't always greener, is it?
It is not. No, it is
so
not.
Do you want to? So I think Brian Kelly's buyout was around $21 or $22 million. Was that right?
50.
50?
50 million.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. It's 50 million. Yeah.
So I have the little stats here on how much money he'll be making. So get this, right? I calculated this.
This is going to make me ill. But go ahead.
So Brian Kelly will make 31 cents per second, $18.46 per minute.
Is this based on 20 million or 50 million?
50 million.
Okay. Gotcha.
So $18.46 per minute. He'll make $1,107 per hour, $26,500 per day, $186,000 per week, $808,000 and $300 per month until 2031.
You know what that's called? A yacht in the Bahamas.
We hate you so much, we're going to pay you this much to leave.
I mean, listen, honestly, if I had coached as long as BK's coached and I had achieved all the things he's achieved at his age, I think he's in his 60s now, I would take this buyout. I would go take a cush job on ESPN because he's got the kind of presentation that the TV stations will go after. Somebody's going to want him. And I'd ride that wave and just keep getting paid, baby. I would not go back into the slog. But we'll see. A lot of guys, I don't know, if he just really wants to win a natty, but where are you going to do that from here?
I was about to say that's the one thing he has left that he hasn't completed, and I feel like he's going to try his best to go somewhere and do it.
But who's going to – and I'm not saying he's not hireable. He is hireable, right, because of what he did at Notre Dame. And I think a lot of people are going to look and just go, he wasn't a great fit at LSU. I just don't – I've never thought that, Brian in a school in the Deep South was a great fit from the perspective of recruiting, the way people perceived him. When you looked at stuff on X after the news came out about his firing, the thing that you saw over and over and over was the dance, that cringy dance that they did like right at the beginning when he first got there.
And that recruit, and it's like going in a circle, and he's standing in the back. Bad. He's going like
this. Like
whoever did that makes you want to throw up.
Whoever orchestrated that did not do him any favors. And then the second thing everybody was talking about was his accent. Was he tried to talk in a Southern accent, which I don't know if he ever did that or not. Maybe, but end of the day, I think he's much better fit, up in a Big Ten type school or something in the Big 12 type deal. We'll see if somebody's willing to take another chance.
Breaking news: Penn State hires Brian Kelly.
And LSU hires James Franklin.
Oh my gosh! But that would literally be like both teams
Bizarro world, right?
staying in. That'd be like both teams staying in, having their gears kept in the park, and just pressing on the gas until until your engine just blows up.
That's classic.
Okay, yeah, so man.
Jumping away from that game, the marquee game, the game day, college game day was at Vandy.
First time they were visiting the Commodore since 2008. And it didn't disappoint. It was a good game.
No, it wasn't it was a defensive battle. It was a good, tough, freaking slobber knocker SEC game.
It was a slobber knocker SEC tilt.
That's right. An SEC tilt. Missouri.
It was a
Donnybrook. Donnybrook. There was bloodletting everywhere. There was tissue samples on the sidelines. There was brain matter in the end zones. It was a Donnybrook.
Yeah, the biggest thing though that went wrong for Missouri is Bo Pribula got hurt and had to be taken off in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm. Right towards the beginning of the first half.
Yeah, was that the first half? I thought it was in the second.
No, it was. I think it was right close up to the first half because he only threw 14 passes. Like he was 9 for 14, and then I can't remember if it's Zollers or Zollers, how you pronounce it, but he threw 23 passes. He played almost the entire second half, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But it was pretty early. I mean, it was fairly early in the game, and definitely, like you said, that isn't he a freshman? Zollers?
Pribula?
No, Zollers, the kid that came in for him.
He is a freshman. And
yeah,
he was the guy that was supposed to originally start at the beginning of the year, and then he got hurt.
Right. Yeah. So it's not like they brought a guy in, who was just, a journeyman who couldn't play. I mean, he actually came in and played pretty well. He threw for a touchdown, 14 for 23 for 138 yards.
Yeah, he didn't play bad.
No, I mean, they got 170 yards rushing. Ahmad Hardy almost got his 100. He had 97. But both teams just played really well on defense. Like it was a defensive juggernaut, like between the two of them. They were just trading punches.
Vandy had an 80-yard running touchdown ran by McKylan Young. And that was, if you watched the highlights, that run was insane. That was the only run they had all day that was longer than 15 yards.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you look at everybody else, it was like Alexander had like 27 yards rushing. I think Pavia had 20. I mean, if you take that out of the mix, they had maybe 50 yards rushing. I mean, Vandy was really like Missouri crushed them on defense.
Yeah,
Pavia threw for 129 yards. That 136 yards, like you said, you take that big throw out, it's 50. They're literally under 200 yards of total offense without that big run. They just, they took advantage of some field position. And Missouri had a fumble, a turnover that gave them a short field that they ended up getting a touchdown out of. But it was a tough game. I mean, these are two very equally matched football teams.
Yes, very much so. And then Missouri goes into a bye week along with Texas A&M. And then the two will play in Columbia, Missouri, November 8th. So if Missouri, can you imagine what the SEC? Can you imagine what the SEC championship path would look like if Missouri beats A&M and then A&M wins out?
So what's crazy? I'm going to be
Vanderbilt
in
and Atlanta is a possibility.
I'm going to be in Missouri that weekend. I'm going to be in.
Really?
I'm going to be 40 minutes from Columbia. I might try to score a ticket to that one.
Seriously?
I might. Yeah. I mean, I know
you've never been a guy that likes to go to games, but that's a big one.
That's a big one. I mean, that one's got national implications. I've never been to a game in Columbia, Missouri. That might be.
I haven't either. I'm actually pretty jealous.
Well, if I end up going, I might get you to see if we can get you a ticket. If you can make the trip, get up there. It's a long drive. It's 14 hours, but it might be worth it.
Well, the only issue is that South Carolina, they play. Do they play that week?
I don't
No,
know.
or I'm trying to figure that out because.
Oh, that's right. You've got to do the post game show for Carolina. I forgot about that.
Unfortunately, I do. Hold on. Let me make sure.
Anywho, and let me just say this: I don't think Missouri can hang with A&M offensively.
Oh, hold on a second. South Carolina has a bye that week.
Oh. Well, I will see if I can score some tickets. But here's what I would say: I don't think Missouri can hang with A&M. I think A&M's too good on offense. Yes, Missouri's good on defense, but they're not that good. I have no idea whether the line's out yet or not.
I don't think it is.
My guess is it'll be 10 or more, or 10-ish, and I think A&M is going to win by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah,
unless they just turn the ball over 3 or 4 times.
Okay, so Vandy improved to 7-1. Their only loss is to the number 4 team in the nation, Alabama, 30-14. They play at Texas this weekend.
Bama does or Vandy does?
Vandy.
That's a
good place.
What's the line on that one? What's the line on that one? Because Texas is not playing well. I mean, they kind of teased everybody with that win over Oklahoma, but then they turned right around and looked like trash again, the last few weeks. So
wow, I'm looking at this and I'm just like disgusted. Texas is favored by 2.5.
Texas might be one of the worst 6-2 teams in the country. Like, they barely got out of Mississippi State alive. I thought
they shouldn't have even got out of Mississippi State alive.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, they have won multiple games that they shouldn't win. Now, with that being said, that's the mark of a good football team, figuring out how to win. But they just look bad doing it. Most of the time, they look bad doing it.
Gosh, dude. I mean, it made me mad because I was just like, Mississippi State, you had one job, expose Texas once again for how they're frauds, and you trip up on yourself.
Are you a Texas hater?
I mean, I don't hate Texas, but I don't like when teams that aren't very good are so hyped up in the media.
I think most people, at least my perception of it, is that most people don't think Texas is a very good football team. Like, do you still think they're getting hyped up?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen a couple people hype them up, but like, because I've seen a couple people be like, "Oh yeah, they're so resilient. They find ways to win." I'm just like,
yeah. Well, I mean, they are finding ways to win, but it's ugly.
They are,
and their story is kind of like the story. It's the tale as old as time. They can't run the football. So that's one of the reasons why they have such a hard time, in my opinion. Arch Manning is like getting significantly better. I mean, he was 29 for 46, threw for almost 350 yards. But Texas, rushing, they had 72 yards rushing against Mississippi State, who's okay on defense, but not amazing. That they just, their inability to run the football puts them in difficult situations, and it kind of puts everything on Manning. And as we've said in the past, if you can't run the football, then, the opposing defensive line is just going to pin their ears back and come after your quarterback because they're not worried about stopping the run.
Dude, you want to know a team that we have not talked about very much that deserves to be talked about?
Who's that?
Houston. This past weekend, they went on the road, beat number 24, Houston. Arizona State.
Another one.
24-16. The Cougars are now 7-1, and they were unranked. Their only loss was to Texas Tech.
Well, I guess we're gonna get to the top 25 here in a minute, but my guess is they're moving into it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they deserve to. Dude, Connor Weigman led the team in passing and rushing. Connor Weigman had 21 carries for 111 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, 17 for 22, 201 passing yards, and a passing touchdown.
Yeah, and if you remember, Connor Weigman was the quarterback at Texas A&M.
He was
last year, and has moved over to Houston. I guess he kind of saw the writing on the wall with Reed. But he's having a heck of a year right now at Houston. Like you said, they're 7-1. He had 312 total yards last week. I don't think he threw for any interceptions. He had a touchdown throwing and 2 touchdowns running. That dude's showing up, man. Cougars are going to be ranked in the top 25 this week, pretty sure, as you when you go over that here in a minute.
And if you look at Houston's remaining schedule, it's pretty favorable. They host 2-6 West Virginia. They play at 4-3 UCF.
Mm-hmm.
They host 6-2 TCU, and then they're at 4-4 Baylor.
Yeah,
Houston's a team that's sneaky under the radar right now.
Yeah, they are. They're a good football team. The game we haven't talked about was the big, Ole Miss Oklahoma tilt.
Yeah, that game surprised me, man. I was expecting. I had picked Ole Miss to win, but I was not expecting them to win the way that they did. Like, I wasn't expecting them to put up 31 points or 30. Was it 35 points or was it 34?
34.
I wasn't expecting them to put 34 points on the best defense in the country. I was expecting this game to be like 13-10.
Well, going into this game, Oklahoma was favored by 4.5.
Lane Kiffin had never beat a ranked SEC team on the road until this weekend.
Yeah. Dude, Trinidad Chambliss was a freaking beast again.
He's been a beast, man.
Yeah. He had a rough fourth quarter last week, but, he was on fire. I just love, personal favorite, I just love Lane Kiffin. I always kind of have, even when he was kind of, a younger guy and everybody thought he was a kind of a D-bag. I just always have kind of liked his swagger. And he's cool because as he's gotten older, he's mellowed a little bit and he's not quite as cocky, but he still has this kind of attitude about him. Like, hey, we're going to win. No matter where we go, we're going to win, even if he doesn't. But, you hear his name getting thrown around for every job out there right now.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, I think, he looks like a guy who's pretty happy where he is. Now, I know people are going to throw some mad cash at him. So it'll be interesting to see if Ole Miss, ponies up and tries to redo his contract to keep him. But he's definitely one of the best football coaches in the country. I think Ole Miss's weakness is their defense. I think the defensive coordinator's name, is Pete Golding or Pete Golden or something like that. I don't think that what they do on defense can get them to the end of the road. He's got some stud pass rushers, dude, and he stays in an odd front and he's dropping them into coverage half the time, which I don't really get at all. Put those guys' hand on the ground, let them freaking go get after some folks. But Ole Miss really looked like they're in control of this football game the majority of the time, and then kind of towards the end, Mateer kind of got things going. He started to scramble and make some play with his legs. He started throwing the ball pretty well. And Oklahoma came back, and for a minute there, it looked like they might be able to pull this one out. But kudos to Ole Miss and the Running Rebs. They got a huge road win against a ranked team. And that's something that they have not done a lot of in the past.
No, and again, kind of as I mentioned earlier, that's the first time they've done it under Lane Kiffin. Let's see here. There was another one that I want to talk about. Oh, yeah, BYU remains unbeaten.
That was the other sleeper that I was talking about earlier.
On the road at Iowa State.
Yeah.
And the Cougs, Bear Bachmeier, leads the team in both passing and rushing. That's a common thing that we've seen as we've gone over some of these games. He went 22 for 35, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had 12 carries for 49 yards and a rushing touchdown. Parker Kingston, 7 receptions, 133 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they Iowa State, again, They had, I think, 311 yards passing, but they had 2 fumbles,
And
lost
3
one of them.
interceptions.
Yeah, threw 3 picks, and were only able to rush. Well, they rushed for 184 yards. So offensively, they actually played really well in terms of
Turnovers.
total yardage. But the turnovers, as always, the turnovers are going to kill you.
They were
Yeah.
leading 24-17 at half.
Yeah, but BYU did not turn the ball over at all.
Nope.
And so that was the difference in the games. Iowa State turned the ball over 3 times. BYU kept the ball safe, protected the football, and eventually put themselves in positions where, on those turnovers, they had short fields and were able to score.
And the crazy thing was Iowa State, remember, they had a blackout, and they scored on the first play of the game.
Did you watch any of this game? Because I didn't watch it. I
watched the
went back and watched
highlights.
some highlights, but I didn't watch the game itself.
Yeah, it was a 75-yard touchdown pass from Rocco Beck to Brett Eskildon, his only touchdown pass of the game. 75 yards for a touchdown, first play of the game. That was something crazy, man. It was a great pass, but like lots of times when you start a game like that and then you end up falling apart in the second half, it's just a killer. Iowa State was favored by 2.5 too. When I saw that line, I was like, I feel like that's kind of free if you're a betting man.
Yeah.
So BYU moves to 8-0. The Cougars have a bye week. And then they're at Texas Tech. That'll be a good one.
It's going to be a good one. Yeah. Texas Tech, we don't need to spend much time on this one, but they put a spanking on an abysmal Oklahoma State team, 2-0 last week. So they continue to roll.
42-0. But hey, anytime you can shut out a conference opponent, no matter how bad they are, it's impressive.
Yeah. Number 17, Tennessee put a waxing on Kentucky, 56-34.
Who needs defense, right?
That's right. Your boys, the Virginia Cavaliers, squeaked out of Chapel Hill barely.
Dude, the Cavs are 7-1, still 4-0 in ACC play. Dude, they've played 3 overtime games and won all of them.
I know it. I hope just personally, like, they're not good enough. Their record is good enough right now, but they're not good enough to make it to the playoffs. Like, they really struggle running the football. They only had 59 yards rushing last week.
You say Chandler Morris slip up against someone?
They're going to slip up. Somebody's going to beg. They almost got beat by an abysmal North Carolina team. Somebody's going to.
But then again, Alabama almost got beat by an abysmal South Carolina team.
Yeah. Well, I would say South Carolina is better than North Carolina, but point well taken. Yeah. It's college football. Anybody can do anything on a given week. I just don't think Virginia's built to go the distance. But like you said, they figured out how to win some close games. So they deserve where they're at right now. I just don't think they're going to stay there.
I'm trying to see here. Virginia Tech. Not Virginia Tech. Virginia. They were. Let me see. Virginia was favored by 12.5, so they were lucky to get out of that alive.
I know. Should have.
Looking at the Cavs' remaining schedule, they're at Cal this weekend. Then they play Wake Forest at home, who Wake Forest has been like, if you look at how they've done, they've also been under the radar. They've won 3 straight, and they just beat SMU, which was a pretty impressive win. They beat them 13-12 at home. They're a pretty good defensive football team. At least they've improved as the season has gone on. So that could be a game that Virginia overlooks, and that could be the upset we were talking about. They play at Duke, and Duke's a decent football team as well. Duke just lost to Georgia Tech last week or 2 weeks ago. They had a bye week. The Blue Devils are at Clemson this week, which should be interesting.
If Virginia Tech makes it to the ACC championship game, just if they happen to win through Virginia, Georgia Tech will spank their fanny.
Yeah. Has Virginia I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what the standings are, but are Virginia and Georgia Tech at the top 2 right now? in the ACC?
Let me see. I think that's the case. Let's see. Virginia's second in the ACC right now. Yeah, Georgia Tech's first and Virginia's number 2. Georgia Tech's
Okay.
8 now. Virginia Tech's 7-1.
Okay.
Or Virginia. I keep saying Virginia Tech. Virginia is 7-1. So that's your ACC rankings. Clemson, an abysmal 3-4. That's so weird seeing Clemson like 3/4 of the way down the board. Like 3-4.
Do you think they beat Duke, or do you think Duke beats them?
I mean, I think Clemson will win, but they're bad enough right now that they could lose to just about.
Well, remember in 2023 they played at Duke and they lost 28-7.
Yeah, they could definitely lose. They could lose. And then the rest of the go ahead.
The last thing I want to talk about, we don't got to talk about this too much, but UCLA goes on the road on a 3-game win streak to take on number 2 Indiana. Could the Bruins get it done?
The party's over.
Yeah, UCLA. No chance, man. No chance. No confidence.
Indiana.
I'm not even going to say that it was UCLA being that bad, because they've played a lot better ever since they fired Deshaun Foster. But Indiana's just that good.
Dude, Indiana is a good football team, and it sounds so weird. Like, it's easy to say, okay, Indiana's good, but it's hard to stress, honestly, how good Indiana is right now. They're super balanced. Like, if you look at what they did against UCLA, Mendoza was 15 for 22 for 168 yards. And then Alberto Mendoza came in on mop-up duty and threw for another 45. But they rushed for 262 yards, super balanced on offense. And they're good on defense, too. I mean, this is a really, really good football team that right now is deserving of their number 2 ranking. Like, they are winning convincingly week in and week out.
It's pretty wild, actually, because
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard. It's kind of weird to say. It's hard to get people to get their head around how good Indiana is, because they're just so used to them being Indiana.
Yeah, and like when they made it to the playoff last year, their defense wasn't this good.
No, they're much better on defense this year. Like, they're built to go the distance, honestly.
Okay. I'm going to give you the average that Indiana's allowing on defense. And I want to see
the average yardage, or what are you talking about?
Average points.
Average points? 8.
Close.
What is it?
10.9.
You can win football games doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You can win football games doing that. Indiana's a heck of a football team. Now let's see.
I can't wait to tell my kids about my grandchildren. Can't wait to tell my grandchildren about the day that number 2 Indiana faced number 1 Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
And it's probably going to happen, because Indiana's got Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Purdue left. So unless they
did you say Penn State?
Yeah, exactly. Unless they just go lay a massive egg somewhere, they're going to be undefeated going into the Big Ten championship.
The only thing that I can see, like,
Ohio State Buckeyes.
The only like potential way I could see them laying an egg, like the only possibility that could happen, is because 3 of their final 4 games are on the road. But
yeah,
that doesn't mean, I'm not saying that means they're going to lose. It doesn't.
No, I know that. And anything can happen, right? Like, I'm just there's always that caveat, but they're playing 4 not very good football teams, and they're playing really well. Like, Indiana hasn't had a game yet this year where they went in and just like underperformed. Probably the only game that was like, I mean, Iowa was close, but Iowa's really good on defense. They beat Oregon by 10, but Oregon was ranked number 3 in the country at the time. Honestly, probably the game that they, underperformed more than anything was their opener against Old Dominion when they won 27.
Honestly, looking at their remaining schedule, their hardest game is this weekend at Maryland, who's 4-3, who's average. But Penn State's horrible right now, 3-4. They've lost 4 straight. Wisconsin's abysmal, 2-6. And then Purdue's abysmal, who's also 2-6. So, I mean, the Purdue game, again, that's rivalry week, and crazy things happen on rivalry week, but I'm not expecting anything to happen. If they were to lose, I feel like their best chance would be either this weekend or at Penn State, depending on the time of that game. But probably this weekend will be their biggest chance to lose, and I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either. Let's jump into the top 25 and look forward towards the next week.
Yes. So, should we go from 25 to 1?
Yes. This is Savage College Football's top 25 of the week. Brought to you by NyQuil.
NyQuil? Why is NyQuil our sponsor?
Because you looked like you had taken NyQuil when I first talked to you this morning.
Wow, thanks for the amazing confidence. All right. Coming in at number 25, we've got the Memphis Tigers.
Podcast, by the way. Just
what?
FYI. I said if anyone from NyQuil is listening to this, we would obviously allow NyQuil to sponsor the podcast. Because they do make some amazing stuff. You ever take NyQuil, you will sleep like a baby.
Yes, NyQuil, the thing that you want to take when listening to our podcast.
All right.
Actually,
you want to take a Zen when listening to our podcast.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
All right, here we go. Top 25. Sorry to interrupt you.
Number 25, we've got Memphis, who's 7-1. They're coming off a big win over USF.
Yes,
I predicted
win
that
over
to
a ranked
happen.
USF team. You did. You called that, son.
Every time that Memphis always drops a game they shouldn't lose, but then they'll play a team against someone that's really good, most likely ranked, and Memphis always wins it. And I said, yeah, Memphis is going to win.
Yep. You called it, man.
Number 24, Utah. This Utah team has been bouncing in and out the top 25 like the past few weeks. But I don't know if you saw, Utah had to start true freshman quarterback Bird Ficklin because Devin Dampier was available, but Devin Dampier was available, but they wanted to keep him on the bench for another week just because they wanted to keep him healthy because he did have an injury. They played Deion Sanders, Coach Prime's Colorado Buffaloes. The second play of the game, Bird Ficklin rushed for a 56-yard touchdown run. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Let me see here.
Didn't see it. But they put a freaking massive.
It was 63 yards.
Sorry,
63-yard touchdown run.
I mean, Deion, the Colorado Buffaloes are not looking the same without the talent that left for the draft last year. Utah.
Oh yeah, Travis Hunter's not walking through that door.
Utah put a major woodshed spanking on Colorado.
53-7.
Spank it hard.
Good Lord. All right. At number 23, we've got Southern Cal at 5-2, and they just had a bye week, and they jump into the top 25.
I was going to say, please explain this one to me. Don't even try, actually. Just keep going.
We're just giving anyone rankings nowadays,
yeah,
huh?
That's right. You got it.
At number 22, the Houston Cougars.
Here we come,
hey,
Houston.
Now, let's go.
That is a well-deserved bump into number 22 by Houston.
I think Houston, honestly, I mean, obviously, I think they should have been ranked last week since they were 6-1 last week in like the 20s. Yeah. I think they deserve to be ranked in 18 or 19 right now. That's my opinion.
I think it's their strength of schedule that's hurting them a little bit. But I agree with you. They're a better football team than some of the teams ranked in front of them, in my opinion.
And number 21, the mighty Michigan Wolverines at 6-2.
Michigan.
After winning the Paul Bunyan Trophy once again over Michigan State, 31-20 in East Lansing.
Spartans. who are just terrible. Yes,
dude.
go
With
Michigan.
Michigan
I was just
State, man. I want that program to be good again so bad.
I know they need to do something with that position and get something going up there in Sparty Town. Like
Because I miss
Michigan
when
State needs to be
Michigan
good.
State was a game that you looked forward to.
Yeah, Michigan State needs to be good at football again. Michigan's got a pretty good schedule the next 3 weeks: Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland. But then they got
the game,
and then they got to play the game. And I don't think
well, they have that game at home.
I don't think they can hold up to Ohio State this year, but we shall see.
Well, we didn't think they could hold up to Ohio State last year.
That is valid. That is very true.
That game was the game always brings some unexpected things, so we can never give a really strong prediction of that until the week of.
Yeah. So Michigan jumped up 4 points in the rankings at number 20.
Texas.
Your boys, the Texas Longhorns, ladies and gentlemen.
Arch Manning.
The best bad team in the country.
I know, right? At number 19, we've got the Missouri Tigers, fell a few spots.
Now, I can't believe they dropped Missouri 4 spots.
Yeah, I can't either. I would have dropped them maybe
after that loss to Vandy, after losing to Vandy by 1 touchdown with a backup quarterback. Now, maybe they dropped them that many spots because Purbuella's out, and they just are looking at it going, hey, they don't have their guy, and so they're not as good. That's probably it. I mean, that'd be the only reason you drop them that far, in my opinion.
Well, you don't have your guy, but you're Missouri, and you're going into a bye week. So, I mean, it is a good scenario to have if you don't have your starter. You've got an extra week to get your guy. I don't know. He probably already knows the playbook, but just get him some extra reps as the starter, running with the ones and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of really all I have to say. I mean, it's kind of good that you have a bye week. It's not like he's being thrown straight into the fire. Like, all right, kid, he's out the rest of the year, and we got Texas A&M this week. Don't screw it up.
Yeah, no, that's good that he gets some time to get some reps with ones, get in there, rock and roll. Next, falling like a hot rock in the top 25.
At number 18, the Oklahoma Sooners
dropped 5 spots to 18 after that loss.
Yeah,
is that a deserving? Do they deserve to drop that far, do you think?
I don't think they do.
I mean, Ole Miss is ranked 7th in the country.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, did you see what Lane Kiffin did in his post-game presser?
No, what did he do?
Sorry, not post-game presser. When he was being interviewed after the game.
I think I heard him say something to one of the Oklahoma players, but I didn't understand what he said. Like, I missed it.
Dude, so one of the defensive linemen or linebackers was coming up to try to say congratulations on the win or whatever.
Right.
And Lane Kiffin says into the mic, pointing at the kid, saying like, "Oh yeah, this kid's pretty quiet now. During the game, he came out to me like 5 times saying I couldn't score on
him." Lane Kiffin throwing shade at the players that he just smacked down.
Yeah, I'm just like, dang, dude. Like the kid was talking trash. I mean, I get it, talking trash. I mean, you're in a game, you're competitive. It makes sense. But like, he came up to you to try to say congratulations afterwards, like try to give you your props, basically saying you proved him wrong. And he just shouted him out on
like, "Hey, you're
national
gonna
television.
talk junk during the game. I'm talking junk after the game, son."
That's crazy, man.
That is crazy. So Oklahoma drops 5 spots.
Number 17, Cincinnati, with a 41-20 victory over Baylor. That was a pretty good win for the Bearcats. They've looked pretty good ever since that loss to Nebraska. They're 7-1.
4-spot jump right there. You know?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then number 16, another team that's been steadily flowing under the radar, Louisville. They're 6-1, and their only loss is to Virginia.
Team. Yeah, which is like, now you look back at it and kind of go, wow, I'm surprised they lost to Virginia, especially after watching them the way they played against Miami a few weeks ago. Louisville's a good football team.
Yeah. And then Louisville's,
I guess Virginia's ranked ahead of them because they got one more win and they beat Louisville. But if you put Virginia on the field with Louisville right now, I don't think it would be a football game. I think
You don't think
Louisville's
it'd be a
significantly
game?
better. I think Louisville would beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's just me. What do I know?
At number 15, we've got Virginia, the team that you hate on. Yeah, that's your new least favorite team. Yeah, you're a hater. You're a
I'm
Virginia
not a hater. I just don't think they're that good. But
Hater.
I'm happy for their success.
Number 14, Tennessee, after a was it 56-34 win at Kentucky?
Yes.
Again, who needs defense? Offense wins championships, right?
A butt spanking. That's right. Rocket Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocket Top. You're welcome.
I wish I was deaf.
The Texas Tech Red Raiders only moved up 1 spot this week. What do you think that's about?
At 13. Probably because they lost to Arizona State the week prior, and Arizona State just fell out the rankings.
Yeah.
That's my best guess. But Oklahoma State is now, well, not now. They're still abysmal. The Cowboys are 1-7.
Terrible. Just
absolutely horrible.
Just horrible.
And
Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame moves into the top 12. Never mind. They were already 12, but they didn't play last week. So that's kind of what I like.
Where they were.
You don't play, you don't move.
Stay. You don't play, you stay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't like this. The AP poll has 2 teams tied for number 10.
Really?
Weird.
I'm looking at the AP poll and it doesn't. Who does it have tied? BYU and Vandy? Or
No.
BYU and Miami?
BYU and Miami.
Yeah, that's stupid.
At number 10.
Tied? Come on. Like, guess what? And as we evaluate them, they're just as good as each other.
Yeah.
What?
And they don't play each other.
They don't play each other. They don't play.
And it didn't go to overtime over and over and over and over.
Pretty sure they're equally as good. Pick a freaking team.
But who's up there at number 10?
I don't know. You're saying Vandy or BYU and Miami, right? Oh, you're doing the U.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's time. We're bringing it back, man. You know what that means? Yeah.
I mean, the
U is back.
They're the U. They got your boy Carson back. He's got almost 2,000 yards passing already this season. If he wouldn't have thrown 4 picks, they might be undefeated right now. But hey, also, did you see that he blamed the tight end? Did you see that post this week?
He's like, miscommunication. He didn't run the right route.
Like, you can just stop at miscommunication, right? So that you can kind of leave it. Yeah, it was a miscommunication. We weren't on the same page. Like, that's the way you say that. Not, it was a miscommunication. He ran the wrong route. It was a miscommunication, but really it was his fault. That's your boy right there, Mr. Tattoos.
I don't claim that man anymore.
You know who he reminds me of? Have you seen Chad Powers? Have you seen that show on Hulu?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. So here's the premise. The premise is the main character was a guy who was a quarterback at Oregon, was a total douchebag. Like, totally thought he was the greatest thing on earth, didn't care about anybody else, like, got in trouble all the time. He's playing in the national championship game. He breaks away for a touchdown that's going to win the game against Georgia in the national championship. And he's celebrating. He drops the ball on the 2-yard line. And Georgia picks it up and runs it back, scores and wins. And he's like, his career's ruined because he's such a jackleg. And then he ends up, like, a few years later, like, putting on makeup and prosthetic makeup and, like, walking on at a different school and, like, becoming a really good player as this completely different person. Yeah. But his name is Russ Holiday in the movie or in the show. Carson Beck reminds me of Russ Holiday. Carson Beck is like Russ Holiday.
Oh,
with the tattoos all over, and he kind of like talks a lot of trash and throws people under the bus. Like, is he a guy that you want to play for? Like, is he a guy that like what was his MO at Georgia? You're a Georgia follower. Like this is the first time I've really paid much attention to him. But when I saw all his tattoos, and then I saw some of the stuff he did on the field during a couple of wins, where he's just like, and then when I saw him throw that tight end to the bus, I was kind of like, dude, like,
so the players that I know, have told me that they still think he's a great guy, which I question.
Well, that says something. At least the guys that play with him. Do you think they're being honest with you? These are Miami guys, or these are Georgia guys?
These are Georgia guys. I think it's like in the middle.
Why did they say he transferred? Did you think he was going to get beat out, or what was the deal?
They just said he needed to find like a better path for him or something like that. And I was like,
that's such a political answer.
Yeah, right.
To find a better path.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the smart way. He's like, all right. He's like, if I tell him this, he's definitely gonna post it. What can I say that won't get posted?
That was definitely the right way to answer the question. I'm just saying it was also a sidestep, right? I mean, basically. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I don't want to spend forever on Carson Beck. That's Miami. They're tied for number 10 with BYU at number 10. We need to keep this thing moving.
Number 9, the Vanderbilt Commodores in the single digits. How about that, man?
That's right. They deserve to be there.
And then at number 8, more Brainiacs, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Jackets.
They actually dropped down one this week. They were number 7 last week. I
don't know why. It's because they blew out Syracuse. It wasn't close.
Probably just I think it was probably just who they beat versus who Ole Miss beat.
I guess
Ole Miss had a better win.
At number, go ahead.
Go ahead.
At number 7, Ole Miss, huge road win at Oklahoma. That's a big win for you.
Yeah, that's a big win for Ole Miss.
At number 6, we've got Oregon, who had a bye week.
No, they didn't.
Actually, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, sorry, that was them.
They had a very uninspired win over Wisconsin last week,
21-7. Well, here's the thing, and we know this. Wisconsin's got a good defense. Even when they're bad, they still have a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
They just cannot do a thing on offense to save their freaking life.
Really, 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 really bad on offense.
But they have a very good defense. I mean, they held Oregon to around the same amount of points that Indiana did.
Yeah, that's right.
So I just want to let that be known. If any Wisconsin players, which they probably aren't, but if you're on the defense and you're listening, props to you if you play defense. If you play offense, I'm sorry. That's all I'm going to say.
The top 5, do you like where the top 5 shakes out right now? Feel good about that? Or I feel good about the top 3. I'm not like the top. I guess it makes sense why 4 and 5 are where they are. But I guess my question is, do you think they're in the right place just based upon watching?
Did you think that Georgia should have moved up a spot? I mean, they had a bye week. They didn't play.
Yeah, I don't think Georgia would have moved up a spot simply because they lost to Alabama. But if Georgia had not lost to Alabama and they had the exact same records, the way Alabama played against South Carolina, I think Georgia would have moved up.
Dude, both of my favorite teams got absolutely heartbroken by Alabama this year. It's a hard life I live.
Yeah, Alabama's breaking some hearts. If you would have told me after the way they played in that first week that Alabama would be where they are right now, or even after the way they played the first few weeks, but they've definitely gotten it together. I got to give credit to the boys. They're pulling that culture back together. I think they struggled a little bit last year figuring it all out, but I think they're getting it together now.
So Georgia remains at number 5 after a bye week. Alabama remains at number 4 after a struggle win at South Carolina. Texas A&M remains at number 3 after a blowout win over LSU in Death Valley at night. Indiana remains at number 2 after a whopping victory over UCLA, 56-6. And then Ohio State remains at number 1 after a bye week of their own. So, yeah, I mean, the top 6 has not changed at all.
No, I think that when you look at the rankings and look at those teams in there, like I feel like once you get past numbers, and again, I don't want to take anything away from Georgia Tech because they're 8-0, but they are playing in the ACC, and they're not playing against the same level of talent as, in my opinion, as teams in the Big Ten and the SEC. I feel like it drops off pretty significantly once you get past Ole Miss. Like I feel like the top 7 are like, those are your teams that really have a chance to make a run at the national championship. I don't really feel like any of the other teams below there, even though they're ranked pretty highly, are built to get through the entire playoffs and win a national championship.
Wow. So you're not a Vandy believer, is what you're telling me.
I love Vandy, but I don't think they're good enough to go, and in the course of a few different weeks have to go beat a team like Alabama or Georgia, and then the next week go beat a Texas A&M or an Indiana, and then the next week end up beating Ohio State. Like, I mean, you got to be good enough to win 3 really, really tough football games.
Have you watched SEC shorts before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it this year at all, though.
You know who the guy that plays Vandy, right?
Uh-huh.
I need to get Vandy Pimp in here to get you on the Vandy train. Dude that pulls up in the sunglasses and captain's hat. Yeah, I need to get him on here and get him convinced to get you to buy into the Vandy hype. Yeah. All right. So that's the
right. Well, yeah, we're at like an hour and 10, so we probably need to get to the schedule so we don't go too far.
Let me go through the weekday matchups real fast, and then we will get into the Saturday games that we find the most interesting. So today is Monday, October 27th. That is when this is being recorded. So week 10 starts tomorrow. Dude, can you believe we're in week 10 already?
No, it's crazy. Like when I look at the people's records and I see people are 8-0, 7-1, I'm like, gosh, I can't believe we're 2 months into the freaking schedule already. That is crazy.
It's actually wild because the offseason feels like it goes by so slow, and then you get into the season and it goes by like the snap of a finger.
So, dude, what is the story? Is like Kennesaw State just signed up to play every Tuesday now? Is that the deal?
Well, so the Conference USA has a thing now where a lot of their teams play on weekdays because it gets their teams a bigger spotlight, and also it's just a way to get on. They call it weekday CUSA. But I mean, it's smart. I mean, last week, like most of the games were 1-score games. I mean, they went into overtime and they had a solid amount of viewership. I mean, they were on ESPN2 and CBS Sports Network, and I watched the games. I mean, I think only one of them was a blowout.
The Deuce. ESPN D.
Well, it's better than being on ESPN 8 the Ocho.
That is true. It is better than the Ocho. All right, so Tuesday, what do you got? What's the dial up on Tuesday?
So on Tuesday or tomorrow at 8 p.m., Kennesaw State at 5-2 hosts 2-5 UTEP. UTEP is coming off a win over Sam Houston, so they've got a little bit of momentum trying to turn their season around. Kennesaw State just needs one more win as they are now eligible to go to a bowl game in the first time of their history. They're 3-0 in Conference USA play. Now, Kennesaw State's only losses is a 1-point loss to Wake Forest on the road. Wake Forest has looked pretty solid. They're 5-2, and a 56-9 loss to Indiana. They've won every game since then. So they're not a bad football team.
Okay.
Another one at 8:00 on ESPN2. Sorry, Kennesaw State and UTEP's on ESPNU. James Madison 6-1 at 3-4 Texas State. Moving to Wednesday, October 29th, Jacksonville State, who is 4-3, first in Conference USA, on the road at Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee is 1-6. They need to win the rest of their games if they want a chance to make a bowl game. FIU is on the road at Missouri State. That game will be at 8:00 on CBS Sports Network. Thursday, October 30th, the day before Halloween, Marshall at Coastal Carolina in Conway on ESPN2. Shout out to the Chanticleers. I was born in Conway. That is my group of 5 team. You've known that.
Cornway, South Carolina, boys and girls.
Where Savage College football was born.
Born in the corn.
Yeah. Coastal Carolina has the best FBS record in the state of South Carolina. They're 4-3, and they're second in the Sun Belt East right now. They're hosting Marshall, and I think Marshall is third in the Sun Belt East. So that could be an interesting matchup. And then Tulane at UTSA on ESPN. Moving to Friday, October 31st, number 25, Memphis at Rice. That game is at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. North Carolina at Syracuse at 7:30. Tickets to this game are as low as $5 to a Power 5 game.
I think that's too much.
Wow.
Lower the price. They should give them away with an ice cream cone.
Not much love for the orange.
Oh, that game just sounds like pulling my teeth.
2-5 North Carolina at 3-5 Syracuse. You're not with it.
I'm not feeling the love.
And then the matchup of the night at 8 o'clock on Halloween night on CBS Sports Network. 4-3 Louisiana Tech hosts. Dun dun dun. The mighty 0-7 Sam Houston Bearcats.
Wow. I almost fell asleep listening to that,
dude,
that slate of games for the week.
Can I just say this? Because this is actually something very interesting. Sam Houston was 10-3 last season, made a bowl game, and they're 0 and they won a bowl game, and they're 0-7 right now.
Yeah.
That's actually insane. No matter what division you're at. You go from a lot of success to bottom of the barrel.
Well, I mean, some of these smaller, some of these group of 5 schools, they're getting rated constantly in the portal, right? Anybody that's good on those teams,
and it's like you kind of feel bad for them.
Yeah, I mean, they're having to when you look at the hierarchy of how things work in the portal, they're anybody that's good on a group of 5 team is in the portal and is gone. Because if you sit there and listen to, I listened to games all week last week, right? And it wasn't there's so many teams when you'd see, oh, so-and-so is from, you're sitting there thinking everybody's going to be a transfer from whatever. He transferred from Georgia to Miami, or he transferred from Michigan down to Florida or whatever. There's a ton of guys. They're okay, this guy's from North Texas, or this guy's from, whatever, another group of 5 school, right? And it's their best players who probably got missed somehow in recruiting. As soon as they recognize and have shown enough on film that they're really good and they can play at that level, gone. So yeah. Just the way that teams at the upper levels are plugging these guys in and getting good overnight, like Texas A&M and some of these other schools are going the opposite direction, because if they can't do a really good job continuing to recruit and either pull kids out of Division II or make sure their pipeline's full of high school kids, they can go from being really good to not being really good real fast, because the portal's going to rob them.
Yeah.
So this Saturday is not loaded with marquee games.
It's not loaded, but I'm seeing a bunch of games that had the potential to be really good. So Vandy at Texas is one of the marquee games.
One of the few games with 2 ranked teams playing each other.
Yeah, another game with 2 ranked teams playing each other is hold on, I'm trying to figure out where I saw it. Oh, number 18 Oklahoma at number 14 Tennessee. And then there's a late night matchup, but a Big 12 matchup, number 17 Cincinnati at number 24 Utah.
Tennessee 14 Tennessee plays at Oklahoma. Oklahoma at number 14 Tennessee.
And then the games that I feel have the potential to just be interesting. Number 10, Miami at SMU. Georgia plays Florida in Jacksonville this weekend. And then Virginia plays at Cal. And then Georgia Tech plays at NC State. Southern Cal plays at Nebraska. Nebraska's 6-2. And then let me see. Wake Forest at Florida State. And then the bottom of the barrel battle for the SEC, Kentucky at Auburn. I think honestly, Auburn's favored by 10.5 in that game. I'm picking Kentucky to cover. Auburn's not good. I don't think they are, at least.
Yeah, I mean I would think Auburn's going to cover because I just think Kentucky's that bad. Like Kentucky's just really bad. They're a bad football team.
The Mark Stoops era has officially, well, not officially, but it's coming to an end. I mean, they just don't have like. I'm trying to figure out because Kentucky trying to figure out how the way to describe them. It kind of seems like the team has just lost motivation if you watch them play.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Stoops for a long time was the guy who was getting the most out of players that, I mean, he had the overachieving team almost for a long time at Kentucky.
Regardless of if, Mark Stoops is fired at the end of this year or fired before the season's over, Mark Stoops is a guy that will forever go down in Kentucky football history as a very big name, because when he took over the program in 2013, it was in shambles.
Yeah.
And
now I haven't done a ton of homework into this, but when you see teams drop off as fast as Kentucky has in the last couple of years with the way football has changed, my first inclination without knowing the details is to think that's a school that has not made a commitment to the NIL in the portal.
Now, they got a lot of guys out of the portal. I mean, I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, but I mean, the question is, how good were they, right? Are they able to get guys that are difference makers, and do they have the money to do that? Because everybody's getting a bunch of guys out of the portal right now.
So they got Kendrick Law, who's played very well for them. He was in the rotation wide receivers for Alabama. I mean, he got a lot of playing time, and he's done very well for them this year. I mean, he had against Tennessee, I think he had I don't remember how many yards he had. I think he had at least 100 something. But he had a 56-yard touchdown reception. And then, but also I'm wondering how I feel like Tennessee's defense, I mean, obviously they tried, but I didn't really think they put much of an emphasis on defense against Kentucky because they knew that their offense would have scored. So I felt I'm not saying they didn't give all their effort, but I felt like they didn't give too much of an emphasis on the defensive side of the ball since their offense was just rolling so hard.
Yeah,
but
if you look at Kentucky offensively, I just took a quick peek, right? Their Cutter Boley is their quarterback.
He's a freshman.
He's 130 for 214, 1,400 yards ish. He only averages 6.5 yards per throw. He's got 9 touchdowns and 6 picks. He's been sacked 17 times. So they're averaging a little bit over 100 yards rushing, but defensively they're not very good. And when you turn the ball over that much, I mean, we've talked about that already this week. It's hard to turn the ball over and win football games.
So I watched a little bit of that game. One of those picks was not his fault. I mean, he was in the middle of throwing, and they don't have a very good offensive line. I mean, clearly, you said he's been sacked 17 times.
17
and he hasn't started all season. He has not started all season either. So, I mean, as he was in the middle of throwing, he just got absolutely whopped by one of the Tennessee defensive linemen. And as he's in the middle of throwing, obviously, when you get hit like that, the ball just flings in the air, and a Tennessee linebacker picked it off and returned it. So that pick wasn't really his fault. I mean, he didn't have – it'll go as his fault in the stat sheet, but when you don't have time to throw the ball, I mean, that's not.
Yeah, I
really...
mean, that all comes back to. I mean, we're seeing the same thing at other schools too, right? South Carolina's the same story. They've got one of the best quarterbacks potentially in the country. They can't protect him. I mean, that's. Listen, it all shakes out. Like at the end of the day, if you don't have a defense, you can't win championships, and if you don't have an O-line, you can't score points. That's just the deal.
When obviously, like, outside of like the teams that I root for, obviously, I always want the teams that are like not normally good, or the teams that are like mostly like basketball or baseball schools to do well in football, just because those kids put in just the same amount of work and effort that the other sports do. And it just makes me mad that those sports don't get nearly as much like attention and support. You know what I'm saying? Because again, Kentucky football, they're not that great, but those kids still work their butts off. And I don't watch their games every week, so I don't know if the stadium's ever sold out or anything, but like their basketball games will be sold out every single week. And
that's because they're good every year. I mean, and it's a basketball school. I mean, that's the reality of it, right? That's one of the things that made his ability to win there for quite a while consistently even more impressive, is that he was able to recruit kids and win football games at a school that really, most of the people in that state, love basketball. Like that's their thing. So at the end of the day, like it's one of those things where you're rolling uphill on the recruiting end of things. So,
well, he also had a period of time where he took Kentucky, like they weren't just making bowl games. Like I think for like 2 or 3 years, they were ranked on a consistent basis. Like they were in like the top 15 or top 20 a lot.
They were kind of like Virginia and some of those teams are right now. Like they were kind of climbing up there and competing, not at an elite level, but at a high level. So
yeah, like they would make like a decent bowl game, like the Outback Bowl or the Citrus Bowl and something like that. Yeah. And they would have like some pretty good guys. That's right. I'd like to see that program become good again. Whoever takes over, or if they don't fire Stoops at the end of the year. But I think they will. Are there any other games that bounce out to you?
Not really. I mean,
outside of the ones we talked about.
I'm close to an hour and a half, so I think we probably better wrap up here pretty soon. If just because most people that are listening probably have already driven to where they're driving.
Probably.
Georgia, Florida is an interesting.
Unless you're going to a football game and you're deciding to travel a little far.
That's right. Then you got a lot of time. I mean, Florida's not very good, but we'll see. It's Georgia, Florida. That's always a game that's interesting. But honestly, this from a perspective of this is going to be one of those weeks where you look at the schedule and you don't really see anything that jumps out at you. And then next week when we talk, there's going to be a couple games that we didn't even notice that are going to go like somewhere weird, and we're going to be like, "Holy cow, we didn't see that coming." But I can't really see which ones they are yet. We'll have to wait until Saturday to find out.
Would now be a good time, since some of these people may not be there where they are yet, would now be a good time to let you know that I might win my first fantasy football game of the season?
Well, I needed something to be excited about, so that really gets it for me.
I'm 0-7.
You're terrible at fantasy.
I am winning my current game by 60 points. And the guy I'm playing has two more guys left to play, but it's the kicker and Patrick Mahomes. So unless Patrick Mahomes pulls off the most legendary performance of his life, I will become 1-7. Also, you'll notice
probably, yeah.
You'll also notice how I didn't talk about the Panthers today.
Yeah, I was going to say this is probably a pretty good place to end it.
Well, there's a reason I didn't talk about the Panthers when we first started.
That's right, because they're terrible. They're back where they should be in the losing column.
Bryce Young got hurt because he hurt his ankle against the Jets. So Andy Dalton was our starter. We played the Bills yesterday and we lost 40-9.
Congratulations. Like I said, back where you belong.
Hey, we're still winning the Super Bowl.
That's right. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your college football week and weekend. We will see you guys here next week. Peace out.
See you.